from here? Take me home, cause I wanna feel like I belong. They relate to all this pain in my past, so they listen to my song. So let's go back to where it began and where it all started from. Take this chance, one last dance, cause I've been waiting way too long. Take my hand, I wanna show you something. Promise I've been dying to see ya. They say the grass ain't always greener. I guess what they're saying is true. In my dreams, that's where I seen her. Take my heart and take all of me, girl. Let me show you what I wanna do. I wanna spend the rest of my life with you. Are you listening, darling? Look where we started. Breaking in half, left us broken hearted. So where do we go from here? Are you listening, darling? Look where we started. Breaking in half, left us broken hearted. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Yeah, where do we go from here? Are you listening, darling? Are you listening, darling? Are you listening, darling? Look where we started. Breaking in half, left us broken hearted. So where do we go from here?
Hello and welcome back, everybody. Sorry, I was having a little bit of a technical difficulty, but it is all sorted now. I think we are all good. So, yeah, hello and welcome back, everybody, to another live stream. So today, of course, we are going to run through the Bitcoin technical analysis as we always do. We're going to take a look at what we've been doing, how we're positioned, what we're looking at, and then kind of what we can look for and look out for in the future as well to, of course, help us profit in these markets. So, yeah, if that all does sound good, please do make sure you smash that thumbs up button. Helps me out, helps the channel out, and I can continue to bring this content to you. And of course, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe and turn that bell notification on. But enough of that. Let's jump into the charts and, of course, take a look at what is going on. So, we'll start off with, of course, what I've been doing. Well, of course, right, previously I have been in a long trade from this range low, which was a really, really nice, successful long trade that we took all the way up to $65,000. That was a very profitable long trade. We took, a little over $3,000 on that trade alone, which was really, really nice. And then of course we took the hedged short trade. Okay, gave the hedged short trade to the team in the Discord, and that again was a very, very successful trade. Realized profit on this trade is $654. Well, actually, it's $651 now because we've had to pay a little bit in fees, and then of course almost $200 unrealized profit. So that's the That's the short trade that I'm currently still in, taking some profits off of the table, but still leaving a little bit left in there just in case we do get that continuation lower. Why have I been looking for this continuation lower? Well, because that's been the trend at the moment. Okay. And like I've been saying, I'm going to trade the trend until the trend ends, right? The trend has been bullish structure, okay, for a lower high, for then price to form bearish structure for a new low, bullish structure to form another lower high, for then bearish structure for a new low, bullish structure for a lower high to then break that bullish structure to a new low, right? So this has very much been the trend at the moment, okay? And this is the trend that I'm continuing to trade because it is the trend, right? We've had bullish structure for a lower high that we shorted, taking it down. We're in bearish structure, or we have been in bearish structure, so we can be looking for a new low, right? So that's why I'm still holding on to that short trade. But in between where we are now and where we entered into that short trade here, there was actually a long trade setup that we had been talking about. Okay, we have been talking about this long trade. As for any regular watchers, as you know, I did not end up taking this trade here, the long trade from down here, because I was asleep at that time. It happened on a fairly late in the evening on Friday. So last Friday. So I didn't manage to get into that trade, but basically we had the GP786 level, of course, as support. We also had a naked point of control coming in at 52,874, which we tapped perfectly. And at the same time, what were we seeing? Okay, well, we were seeing some really nice absorption coming in on this larger time frame. Okay, you can see it right here. We got this really nice, of course, higher low on the price action chart. However, we are seeing on the CVD that there is more aggressive sells and shorts happening here than there was back here. However, price back here made a low, okay, a lower price than here, right? Telling us that this is actually quite bullish, because there is, although there is more sells coming in here, price is actually forming bullish structure, telling us there's a large player absorbing all of these sells into the market, okay? And then, of course, the sells into the market get exhausted, and what tends to happen? Well, price tends to reverse in the opposite direction, and that's exactly what we have seen here. So I would have loved to have been able to get into this trade. Okay, I would have loved to be in that trade at this moment in time, but okay, we are, I am only human, right? I can't take every single trade because I do have to sleep at some points. So didn't get that trade, but that's fine, right? I look at this and I think, right, fine, okay, I've missed a trade. Let's look for the next best trade setup, right? Perfect example was the short trade from up here. I didn't manage to get the short trade in from up here either. Okay, all I did was waited patiently, got the long trade from here, got the short trade from here. Okay, and it's the same scenario now, right? Okay, fine. I'm not in the long trade. Would I like to be? Yes, of course. But we can look for those next levels, okay? And that's, of course, what we will talk about at this moment in time, and what I want to look for at this moment in time as well. So, of course, right, where are we at this moment in time? Okay, well, of course, we're having this rise, but let's zoom out a little bit more, okay, and get a bit of a better understanding, right? First of all, we understand larger bearish structure, okay? Locally, we've had the bullish structure, which broke to bearish structure. For me, at this moment in time, we are still technically, I'd say, still in bearish structure here. Okay, still technically in bearish structure. We haven't really broken it yet. And for me, as long as we're in this bearish structure, I can be looking for lower prices. We're getting very close, and it's looking like it is, okay, like price is going to break this bearish structure to bullish structure, right? And now this is where I have a completely different thesis. I completely shift my mindset, right, from bearish and looking for a new low to saying, okay, right, that price target has now been invalidated, and we can be looking at something new here. Okay, we can be looking at something completely new that we actually haven't seen in quite a few months. Okay, quite a few months, and that is actually larger time frame bullish structure that we're possibly forming here. Because remember, right, ever since like February, end of Feb, start of March, we've been in bearish structure. Okay, we have been in bearish structure. You can't deny that, right? Consistent lower highs and lower lows, consistent lower highs, lower low, lower high, lower low. Okay, lower high, right? Of course, now we are starting to shift a little bit. Okay, it's not confirmed that we're going to have a complete shift, right? But we are starting to shift a little bit, right? So you can't deny we've been in bearish structure, right? But at the same time, okay, we can't deny that we're possibly flipping into larger time frame bullish structure, which is something to be aware of. Okay, we of course have this higher low, right? This higher low coming in here, and we are getting a nice rise. Okay, and if we're breaking this local bearish structure, we can be looking for a new higher high. And of course, right, we're looking at this as higher time frame bullish structure, which we haven't seen in quite some time, right? Yeah, okay, we've seen bullish structure here, but it's not really like higher time frame bullish structure, is it? Okay, it's kind of just a move up, right? But now we're starting to form, or possibly starting to form, right, some higher time frame bullish structure. And if we do this, right, doesn't mean I'm going to ignore the short trades. Absolutely not, right? Because I'm looking for a short trade up here where we can take this down. But this is where we have to start to think a little bit differently, right? Where previously we've been looking at the taking profits on the longs early because we're looking for a lower high, right? And then we're taking advantage of the shorts because we're expecting a new low, right? Whereas now we can be looking for, right, these shorts to be held open for a shorter period of time, okay, for a long trade, possibly, for example, a long trade from here, okay, to possibly hold that open for longer and to take that higher, right, to a new higher high. Because of course, if we're going to start forming this bullish structure, this is now what we're going to want to trade, right? And if we start forming this bullish structure, it could then, right, break the bearish structure here, right? It could then break this bearish structure that we've been in for months upon months upon months now, right? So this is a possibility, right? And if this is a possibility, of course, we want to be looking at taking advantage of this, right? So still very, I've had this plan for quite some time still, not that bullish structure, right? But the short trade from $65,000, right? If we come up to $65,000, I do quite like this for a short trade. Why? Because we have some resistance with some naked points of control. Okay, we have a nice pivot point up here, right, that can give us that trade entry trigger. And we're seeing longs coming in on this move up, right? And what can we expect? And what have we seen, right? This is just going back to, having a perspective on the market. It's very important to have an understanding and a perspective on the market, right? What has happened on every single one of these pumps here? Okay, longs have opened up. Every single one of these pumps, millions upon millions upon millions of longs have opened up. What has happened on every single dump? Well, all of those long trades that opened up got wrecked. Okay, so we saw these pumps being fueled by long trades getting stopped out. Right, so this is something that's okay. Right, if we are going to start to shift to bullish structure, fine. Okay, we understand that, but we can still expect this trend of longs getting wiped out to continue. Okay, this is something that we can still look at. So of course, I'm expecting millions upon millions of longs to open up if we are going to come up to $65,000. Why? Well, because we have to see that. Why do we have to see that? Well, because we don't have many shorts opening up on this move down here. So we can't look for a short squeeze to take us higher. We can't rely on a short squeeze, right? Because it's not going to take us far, right? Because we haven't had an incredible amount of shorts open up, right? In this instance, we have to rely on longs opening up to take us higher. So if we do come up to $65,000, right, then we know millions upon millions upon millions of longs have opened up to get us to that price. Now, if we do get up there, we're going to just see FOMO long after FOMO long after FOMO long after FOMO long. Again, what you have to remember, these FOMO longs are going to be over leveraged, over positioned in their trades, okay, because most of these are retail traders. So any slight pullback, okay, could be quite catastrophic, and it could get quite messy. Now, of course, we would be coming into resistance, right? If we got a bit of a pullback, millions of trap longs at the high, right? This could be the start of a pullback here. Now, this is where we have to determine, right, okay, is price actually going to hold a higher low here? Are we going to start to show some bullish signs here? Okay, of course, we want to be taking profits on that way down, right? We want to be taking profits on the way down, move the stop loss to entry, risk-free trade. That's what I like to do. It's how I like to trade. Okay, it's a very good a good position to be in, a risk-free trade. It's a very good position to be in, okay? So I understand, right, if we start to pull back here, there's still a possibility that we could actually hold this bullish structure, right? And we could continue this bullish structure. So down here, I'm thinking to myself, right, taking profits on this trade is a good idea, probably. All right. And are we starting to see some bullish signs, right? Maybe we're looking for absorption. Maybe we're looking at price coming into a new naked point of control, right? Maybe we're looking at price coming into a GP 786 level. Okay, these are things that I'm going to be thinking about down here, right? As of yet, we can't really determine that. Okay, we can only determine that as price is starting to pull back. So we're getting a little bit far ahead of ourselves, but that's fine because I like to plan, right? I like to plan for things, and I like to plan out scenarios. And this is a scenario that I do think can play out, right? If we are going to start to flip a little bit more bullish, okay, and we can look for close to $70,000 again, or $70,000, maybe even higher again, okay. This is something that I would expect to play out. I don't really expect us to shoot up to 70K. I'd be looking for more of a move up, for a pullback, for a higher low, for then a continuation higher. Okay, and of course that on that pullback, right, because I haven't managed to get a long trade in here, okay, I can be looking for a long trade on that next higher low, okay, to then take advantage of higher prices if that's what we're going to see, right? So for me right now, it's patience, right? I have a key level at $65,000. So if we're going to continue higher, that's the level of interest that I'm looking for price to come to then determine or to then, give me that possible trade setup, right? Then from there, I determine whether I enter into a trade or not. I'll just put up the chat quick. Paul, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but yeah, good to see you here. I don't believe I've seen you here before, so yeah, good to see new faces. But yeah, getting back to where we were, right? Of course, millions upon millions of longs have to open up to continue to push price higher. In this instance, I'm looking for then trap traders at the high. If we start to pull back a little bit, this is where I'm looking to enter into a short. Then what we can expect, of course, is a long squeeze down. Now, okay, this scenario may not play out. We may not look bullish down here, okay? We may get a very, 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 very bearish, okay, long squeeze, and this could actually take us down, okay, possibly even to a new low. This is something that is possible. This is something that we have to be aware of, okay? So, of course, this is just going to be another scenario. So if we're coming down here, of course, I'm looking out for the bullish signs, but if we do not see the bullish signs for the long trade, I'm not going to take the long, okay? I'm not going to take it, right? I will remain patient in that short trade and look for lower prices. Okay, so it all depends on what is price. How is price looking at these key levels, right? So here, of course, I've got a predetermined key level, well, key zone, let's call it, between like $65,000 and $66,300, like this kind of zone here, where I'm looking to fire that short trade in. Okay, that's kind of where I'm looking for that short trade in that zone, right? And then on a pullback, I'd be saying around like $57,000 to $58,000 roughly. The zone could be a little bit wider, right? But that's kind of where I am looking for a possible long trade, right? Now, does it mean that I'm going to take a short trade here, or does it mean I'm going to take a long trade here? Absolutely not, right? We may not get the short trade from here, or we may not get the long trade from here, okay? And that's when we look for continuation in the direction price is going, right? So if price comes up, we don't show any bearish signs, we smash through resistance, we're looking bullish on the order flow, we can, without a shadow of a doubt, look for higher prices there. Okay, but 65,000 to 66,300, that's a level of interest up here for me, right? On a pullback, this is a level of interest for me. And to be honest with you, possibly, I would argue, okay, because this is a trend that I've been seeing quite a lot as well recently. I would argue 52,475 is a key level. The reason I say that is because we have seen a trend of a major pivotal low, right, for price to then come up from a higher low, right? Price then actually comes down, takes out that higher low, fails to take out the major pivot low here, okay, and then we see a move up from here. Right, so this is a possible scenario that I'm also, as of today, like I've just kind of been looking at the charts, and this is another scenario that I've been looking at because, if you are a regular watcher, you will know, right? We were looking at this not that long ago. We were looking at this not that long ago. If I can find an example of it, so. It happened quite a few times. Let's get rid of the naked points of control for now. So we had a major pivotal point here. Okay. We had a lower high here, right? We then took out the lower high, right? And then we got the bigger move down, right? So this is, of course, in the inverse direction. But we saw the same thing here. So we had a major pivotal low here. We had a higher low here. Okay. We took out the higher low here for a bit of a move up. Right, we've seen that. It's just a trend that I've been looking out for. Okay, and it's a trend that has been playing out. We've seen kind of the same thing here, right? A major pivotal low, higher low here. We take out that for a bit of a move up. Okay, maybe it's not a huge like trend reversal, but it can give us an opportunity to get into a nice little trade. That is, so it's just a trend to be aware of, right? And you can kind of argue the same thing from where we are now, right? Major pivotal low here, right? We've had a higher low here. We've taken out that higher low here for a move up. Okay, so it's kind of a little bit of a trend that I'm seeing play out quite a lot at the moment. So I'm arguably going to say 52,475 is a key area of interest for me as well. I will monitor it and I will be very cautious at that level, making sure everything is aligning for me if I were to take a long trade. But I mean, if there's a long trade there and everything looks good, then I probably will take a long trade from there. Because it has been a trend, and it's not necessarily a long trade that I would be looking to take up to all-time high, because again, with the examples I've shown you, it's not like it's been a huge pivotal point, but what it gives us is of course like a nice entry for a nice little move up or a nice little move down. We don't have to, I know recently I've been looking at the much bigger swing trades. Why? Because they've just been favorable, right? But if we get a nice little trade set up here and there, okay, great. We can just extract some more profits from the markets. Great. Okay. It's a trend that I've been seeing playing out quite a lot. So this is why I'm kind of considering it as a key level. But of course, the main key levels are, first of all, $65,000. That's like the main key level towards the upside. And the main key level towards the downside is $48,900. As we all know, right, I've longed every single dump that we've had here. Okay, so we longed this one here, we longed this one here, and the most recent one was this long from here. Okay, all of those were incredibly successful, right? So if we were to come down, take out $48,900, huge portion of the market got wrecked on that trade entry trigger of the failed auction. I would be looking for a long trade there. Why? Because it's just been the trend, right? It's worked 3 out of 3 times for us in the past. Okay, so might as well continue to trade it, right? Trade the trend until the trend ends, because the trend is your friend until the end. So that's kind of what I would be looking for. Other than that, I don't see any other major key levels of interest for me. We can mark out roughly, let's say we come up here. So the key levels for me are, of course, $65,000, $54,900. Those are the major key levels. I'd say we have a fairly key level at between like 58,000 to 55,500. Okay, kind of this zone here. I'm interested in this level here as well. We can be a little bit more specific on that level as well, actually, if I just... So 56,425, 56,425, 56,425, 56,425. So 56,425. We can be a little bit more specific there. So yeah, around that $56,400 level. I'd argue that is a key level if we saw $65,000 being taken out, then that's more of an interesting level for me. If we pull back to it now, I'm really not interested in it. Okay, for that, right? Because first of all, that fib pull wouldn't be valid anyway. But for this to be valid, a valid level, we have to come up to like $65,000 to $66,000 for me to count that as a valid key level. And then, of course, we want to look what's happening in the order flow down there. Are we getting bullish absorption? All of that important stuff. We want to see all of that align, of course, to really cement that as a key level. So yeah, I do like that level. So I'll keep that up. I do like that level. And then the final key level, I would say, is 52,475, right? So, yeah, these are all kind of the key levels that I have, right? We'll actually get rid of, this one here. Let's get rid of this one here. So these are all the 4 key levels, right, that I have marked out on my chart at this moment in time. These are all the levels that I'm interested in trading at this moment in time. And all it's down to now is patience, right? Let's wait for one of these levels to be tapped, okay? We come up, right? We can look for a short trade here, okay, to take that down possibly. Let's say, we come down here, we look bullish here. We could get the long trade to then take us up, right, for another higher high, okay? This is kind of what we can be looking for, right? So, of course, the long trade from there to take that up to a new high. And then the short trade from here to take that down here, right? This is something I'd be looking for. Okay, this is one of the scenarios I would be looking for. Now, we may get the short trade, but we may not get the long trade. Okay, where are we here? Okay, we may not get the long trade. Okay, so we could get the short trade, and then the short trade could take us down to 52,475, where from there we could possibly get the long trade. That could be another nice scenario there. That could be another nice scenario. Or we could get the short trade. We could come down $48,900 and then get the long trade from there. Okay, so that also could be another scenario like that. Okay, this is all if we are to get the short trade, of course. If we are to get the short trade, I guess the final one would be, I guess there's many of them, but we don't get the short trade and we look for higher prices. I guess that's and then of course, yes, I've got key levels at higher prices. I won't cover those just because, we're not there yet. And we have levels that I'd rather short first. But those are kind of the scenarios like that I've just run through very quickly, very briefly. But those are kind of the scenarios that I would be looking for, right? And it's then down to, okay, what is happening at each of these key levels, right? Are we seeing, for example, right, at $65,000, are we seeing millions of longs open up for them price to pull back, form that trade entry trigger for then a bigger, form the trade entry trigger for the short trade, okay, and then we see a big long squeeze, right? I'm monitoring the order flow, looking at what's going on this move up. Then we're looking for what have we got up here? Are we seeing lots of shorts getting wrecked? Well, no, because we've got no shorts open that have opened up anyway. Okay, but we've got a lot of long trades up here, right? And price is starting to pull back, so these are now trap longs. Okay, they're going to have to cover at some point, which of course is selling into the market, so that's going to push price lower. So these are all things that I'm thinking about, right? At each key level. For example, we come up here, we pull back to like 67, whatever it was. for that GP786 and the naked point of control level. Here, I'm looking for, okay, are we getting absorption? Is there a big player here that is absorbing all of the sales coming into the market? If there isn't, okay, we can look for lower prices here. Okay, if there is, right, we can actually look for higher prices. Why? Because we're anticipating that, and the reason why I'll say what we're anticipating, okay, these big buy limit orders from these big players, okay, or big player to absorb all the sales in the market, okay. And why are we anticipating this? Well, because this is what happens a lot, right? When we see absorption, right, a lot of the time we see these big players absorbing all of the sells, all of the longs coming into the market, whatever prices, whatever direction price is going in, and then we see price reverse in the opposite direction. So for me, it's it's just looking out for these things, knowing what I'm looking out for, and if it all aligns, if I see what I want to see at these key levels, I then take that trade, right? I then take that trade. But yeah, for me right now, it's just patience. I'm still sat, of course, in this short trade, still very much sat in this short trade here, which is completely risk-free because, yeah, we've taken $650 in a profit, moved the stop loss to entry, so it's a really, really nice risk-free trade. But yeah, it's just patience from here, right? Of course, I would love to be in that long trade from this low here. I would have loved to have got that long trade, but we can't, we can't win them all. We can't take every single trade. Now it's just, okay, right, I know my next major levels of interest. If we come to these levels of interest, I need to make sure I'm prepared, okay? And then I wait and I wait for what I like to see, okay? What I like to see at these levels, and to give you a good understanding of what I like to see, I look for three things, okay, at key levels, right? I look for large absorption from like big players. So I'm looking for like big players absorbing longs or shorts coming into the market, right? I'm looking for trap traders. Okay, that's another thing that I look for. Lots of trap traders, and there is a final one, which is a huge portion of the market gets wrecked. Okay, a huge portion of the market gets wiped out. Okay, and I can show all three of those examples in this, well, actually a little bit more, this bit of price action right here. All those three examples are in this bit of price action here. It's how amazing this is. And these are only the three types of trades I take. Only the three types of trades I take. I will not take any other trade other than these three types of trades. Why? Because I've done my statistics on these three types of trades. And these are the most successful, in my opinion, the most successful types of trades that you can be taking, right? So, for example, this long trade here, what happened? Okay, what was the cause of this rise? Well, the cause of this rise is that over 500 million long trades got wrecked on this move down. Perfect time to get into the market when a huge portion of the market had been wrecked. Okay, so that was one of the reasons why. Well, that was the first reason of or the first trade style, as however you want to say it, right? And then of course the second one is trapped traders. Okay, the trap traders here, right? We had trap long trades up here. Price started to pull back. What happened to them? They had to cover, meaning that they had to sell into the market, which of course adds fuel to the fire and pushes price lower. Okay, and that's exactly what happened there. And then for the third and final, okay, last but not least, we have absorption, huge absorption that was happening here. What has happened? Prices reversed in the opposite direction. These are only the three types of trades I look for. Okay, why? Because these types of trades have reasoning behind price movements, right? Breakouts of levels, that's not a real reason for price moving. Okay, you can say to yourself that price is moving because price has broken out of a triangle pattern or a head and shoulders pattern. But that's not the reality of it. There is a deeper understanding of why price is moving. Okay, there's always a deeper understanding, and that's what I look for in these markets. I look for the deeper understanding of why price is moving, not the surface level bollocks that all the sheep follow, right? Triangle patterns, all of this nonsense, right? Head and shoulders, all this nonsense. Okay, right, maybe it'll play out here and there, right? But the majority of the time, people who trade these types of things get wrecked in the markets. Why? Because they don't understand how markets work. If you honestly think that markets move because price is breaking out of a level, then you really have no understanding of these markets, right? Absolutely no understanding of these markets. And if I can't give you financial advice, but if I could give you financial advice, it would be quit trading now and never, ever, ever place a trade in your life if you think like that. Okay, and the reason why I'm saying it, and I'm probably saying it in quite a harsh way, is because I've been there, I've done that, and it's just not worked, and I've lost a lot. I lost a lot doing that. Okay, but then looking at where I am now, okay, I have a really good understanding of the markets. Okay, right. Okay, maybe not a good fundamental like when I'm saying like fundamental, like an understanding of like the news, right? How news affects the markets. I've got no clue, right, about reading news and then trading. Okay, it's not how I trade, right? I trade the technicals, solely the technicals. I don't care about any sort of news, not even, interest rates, FOMC, none of that nonsense, okay, affects my trades. Okay, right, yeah, I'm aware of it, okay, but, I don't let it affect my trades whatsoever. I look at the technicals, I look at the real reason why price is moving, because ultimately, price moves because of technical reasons. Price doesn't move because of like news events. Of course, like the news events are the catalyst for it. But after that, it's all down to the technicals. Okay. And when I'm talking about technicals, I'm not talking about triangle patterns. I'm not talking about that nonsense, right? I'm talking about the order flow, right? Let's get it. Here we are. Okay. This stuff here, this is what moves the markets, right? The longs, the shorts coming into the markets, the actual orders in the markets are what moves the markets, right? What participants in the markets are doing move the markets, right? The buys into the market move price up, okay? The sells into the market move price down, right? Longs closing moves price down, right? Shorts closing moves price up, right? This is how the markets work. Okay. And if you have an understanding of all of that, then you have a good understanding of how the markets work and why the markets work. And if you're having a good understanding of how the markets work and why the markets work, okay, then you can anticipate moves. Okay, that's it. Okay, you can anticipate moves and have a pretty successful win rate. Okay, a pretty successful win rate because you look for these patterns, right? Not triangle patterns, right? You look for these types of patterns. You look for when traders are trapped, okay? And of course, right, yeah, sometimes I'm looking at triangle patterns, but I'm looking at triangle patterns to determine what retail traders are doing, okay? Retail traders are looking at this triangle pattern and thinking, oh, we're going to break up. We're going to go here, okay? When in reality, what I'm looking at is this triangle. I'm looking at it breaking out. I'm thinking, okay, on this breakout, are longs opening up, right? If they are, and price starts to pull back a little bit, oh, great, short trade, right? Why? Because everybody is expecting this triangle pattern to break out and to go to all-time high, whatever price target, that the crazy price target that they have. And ultimately, as price pulls back ever so slightly, they get extremely, extremely, extremely fearful. Okay, these retail traders. Why? Because they do the same exact mistakes as I did when I first got into these markets. I over leveraged myself. I overexposed myself to these markets. Okay, and that gets you wrecked incredibly, incredibly quickly. And that is how on Bybit alone, over 500 million long trades got wrecked on this move down. Okay, and it happens time and time and time and time and time again because most retail traders do not learn. Okay, there's only a select few that really change and decide to understand how markets work. Okay, but most of them, they do the same thing. Okay, they follow the sheep, and they remain sheep in these markets, and they remain to lose. Okay, they remain to consistently lose money in these markets. So for me, it's just ignore all of that noise. Ignore all of that noise. Gain a deeper understanding of the markets, why the markets are moving. And it doesn't have to be on a technical basis. Okay, this is just what works for me. This is what I enjoy. It could be looking at news events, right? I again like trading off of news events. If I did that, I can promise you now I would be a very, very unsuccessful trader. Why? Because it's just not my style. It's not what works for me. Maybe if I spent enough time and dedicated enough time and energy to learning it, okay, maybe eventually it could pay out for me, right? Exactly like putting enough time and energy into understanding how the markets work, okay, has paid off very, very well for me. Okay, I'm sure it would if you really understood it. But for me, right, it just wouldn't work. Okay, how do I know that? Because I've done it before, right? And a very, very simple understanding is of like trading like news events is, if you are reading the news as it comes out, you're already too late. Okay, you've already read it too late, right? Why? Because someone's had to publish it, right? It's, people already know about it, and that's where the saying "buy the rumor, sell the news," okay, comes, right? Because everybody that reads the news as the news comes out has read it too late. So yeah, for me, that's why like trading news events could never work in my favor unless you had some sort of inside source who knew everything before everybody else. But in my case, I do not have that person. But yeah, technicals is what I like to do. And the technicals are the reason why price moves, okay, and continues to move. Yeah, okay, you have news events that are the catalyst and make people do certain things in the markets, but then it's down to the technicals, okay, on what happens, right? And so having a good understanding of the technicals and understanding how the markets work gives you a very, very, very huge advantage in these markets. Very huge advantage. It's like I say a lot of the time, right? Order flow is like an X-ray machine for the candles, right? Like you have an X-ray machine for a human body, you have X-ray machines for the candles, and yeah, sometimes you can't predict that someone's broken their arm without an X-ray. Okay, so it's the same thesis here. Okay, up here you can't you physically, like, if you're looking at it here, okay, you physically cannot you cannot visibly see what traders are doing here. Okay, of course, yeah, you can argue that new long trades are opening up, but how do you know that this rise is not fueled by short trades getting stopped out? Okay, we know because we look at the order flow that this move down was fueled by all of these long trades getting wrecked, and this move up is fueled by new longs coming in. But looking at just this, how can you, right? Let's say we've never looked at order flow before. How can we look at this and say this was fueled by longs getting stopped out? Because you'd look at this and think, okay, everybody's shorting, when in reality, there was no shorts opening up on this move down. This move down was fueled by these longs getting stopped out. How do we know that? Okay, well, because we've read the order flow, right? We understand it. So without that order flow, I just don't understand how anybody can have a good understanding of the markets, right? It's very, very difficult to have an understanding of the markets if you don't read something like order flow, because how do you know what buyers and sellers are doing? You can't sit here and tell me that you know what buyers and sellers are doing looking at the candles. Okay, you just can't. Right? You can't understand because, like I said, you could think this was fueled by people selling when in theory it's not, right? Yes, okay. Yeah, people were selling here, right? But it was actually longs getting stopped out. So it was the long trade selling into the market. So yes, people were selling, but it was longs getting stopped out that caused the move down, right? And these are things that you need to understand to actually understand how the markets work, right? Again, here, this could have been fueled by shorts getting stopped out, okay? And new longs coming in okay, or shorts getting stopped out, okay, both of those can increase price, okay, but both of those, okay, are things that you need to, when looking at a trade, you need to determine whether this move was fueled by longs opening or shorts getting stopped out. You need to know that before entering into that next trade, right? Why? Because you always have to have a reason for price to move, okay? And let's say, right, this move up was fueled. Well, sorry, this move up was fueled by longs opening, right? New longs opening up. So now, if we start to see price pull back, we now have a reason for price to continue to pull back. Why? Because long trades will have to close, right? But if we see this move, right? Let's say this move was fueled by shorts getting stopped out, right? And price starts to pull back a little bit, right? There is no reason for price to pull back. Why is there no reason for price to pull back? Because there are no trades to stop out, right? There are no long trades to stop out. So if we are to pull back, okay, we have to see new traders coming in, okay? And it just gives a very different perspective on the trade. Like, I would not be looking for a short trade, okay, if this move up was fueled by a short squeeze, right? If this was fueled up, I wouldn't be looking for a short trade. Why? I'd be looking for higher prices. Okay, so it's really, really important to understand what move is caused by what. Is it new trades coming in, or is it old trades getting wrecked? Okay, what is it? That's what you need to know to help you determine and help you anticipate moves. Without that, okay, you don't have an understanding of the markets, right? Nobody has an understanding of the markets if they do not look at something like order flow. Okay, it doesn't have to be exo charts. It can be any sort of order flow, just any. I don't care, any sort of order flow. There are a lot of platforms out there who, even TradingView do it now. It's not as advanced, okay, but it gives you half decent order flow. And without that, right, I just don't understand how anybody can have a good understanding of the markets, right? So yeah, there's my little rant. But yeah, I think I've spoken pretty much about everything that I want to talk about. So yeah, if you do have any questions, please do put them in the chat and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And if you haven't already, please do smash that thumbs up button. It really helps me out and helps the channel as well, and I can continue to bring this content. So please do smash that thumbs up button. And yeah, if you do have any questions, please do fire away. It is a Friday as well, so yeah, I'm sure many of you are excited for the weekend. For me, myself, I do the weeks, the days just kind of like blur into one. Mainly because I'm just very busy all the time. Everything sort of blurs into one. So, I always feel like every day for me is just a weekend. Not because I'm sat, or no, weekend's probably the wrong saying. A Monday. I feel like every day is a Monday for me. That's probably how I should put it. Because I'm always very busy every single day. I never have any time to sit down. But yeah, I know. I don't know if there are any football fans in here, but the Premier League is back this weekend, so I will try and make some time to watch some of the football. But yeah, like I said, I just never really have any time to sit down. I'm always keeping myself busy. Which, I kind of got into this industry because I wanted to have free time on my hands. And then I kind of got to the point where I had so much free time on my hands and yeah, I didn't enjoy it. I got a little bit bored. I got a little bit lost. And that was, one of the motivations to, of course, starting this channel, right? Yeah, it's entertaining. Keeps me entertained, and of course, I like to share my analysis with everybody. Jamie, good to see you back, my friend. Who do you support? Yeah, that's a difficult one to say, to be honest with you. Manchester United. I was originally born up north, and then I moved down moved down south. How many years ago was that now? That was a few years ago. I moved down south. I did live in another country for a few years as well. So yeah, I was born and raised in Manchester, and I was put in a Manchester United shirt when I was 3 months old, probably. So yeah, that's why I support United. I mean, the glory days are way past us. Yeah, we're best friends. Not good times for us at the moment. At this moment, is it? Yeah, I mean, I love United, but yeah, there's a big problem going on with us at the moment. A big problem. I've always said that there's been a curse on United ever since Fergie left. There's just been a curse. It's like someone's come down and put a curse on United and said, um, you know, United are never ever going to do well until Fergie comes back to manage us. But yeah, that's obviously not going to happen. We will be back. Yeah, I hope so, because it really hurts my feelings watching us each weekend. No club like us, mate. Yeah, I agree. There is no club like us. But yeah, lots of things need to change, and I like that we are seeing change at this moment in time. I like that we're seeing change. I guess you've got to give it time. I think this is like the biggest change that we've seen for years. Like we haven't had a big and you couldn't even really call this like a big rebuild, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a big rebuild, but a small rebuild of the team. We haven't actually seen this in quite some time. Usually what we do is we buy stupid players for stupid amounts of money. Anthony, Pogba, yeah, Fred, all of these. Yeah, we buy big players, big money, and then they just kind of flop, right? That's the United way. But yeah, we need to be a little bit smarter now. Bit of a rebuild, and maybe we can get back. We'll see. Only time can tell, right? But yeah, that Liverpool loss, that killed me. Absolutely killed me. I hate Liverpool. I hate Liverpool so much, I actually like Man City. That's how much I hate Liverpool. Even though I hate Man City as well, but the amount I hate Liverpool makes it look like I like Man City. I despise Liverpool. I absolutely hate them. Mainly because my best mate supports Liverpool, but also I feel like they are a bigger rival than City are. I do feel like that, because I understand how much they hate us as well. It's all just a lot of hate between United and Liverpool, isn't it? Liverpool were doing rondos. It was mockery. Yeah, absolutely. It's always mockery against Liverpool. They always absolutely take the mick with us. And then if we do win, it's like a 2-1 win. Like it's nothing special. I know it's a win. A win's a win, but can we not beat them 6-0, 5-0, 7-0? Why can't we do that to them? But yeah, I think if there are no more questions, I will leave that there. Yeah, I think I've talked about everything that I want to talk about, right? I've mentioned the key levels that I'm interested in trading, and now it's kind of just a bit of patience, really, right? It is patience, yeah. This month, August, it's been a really, really nice month for trades. Really nice month. Okay, I've got the long trade there, I've got the short trade in from there. Really happy with those two trades. Unfortunately, was asleep when this long trade presented itself, but that's fine. We can look for a new trade. The trades have been really, really good this month. So now it's just, again, exercising patience, right? Like this long trade here, I had to wait patiently for that one. Like this short trade here, I waited patiently for that one. It's now patience again. Wait for our key levels. Once we tap our key levels, then we come in, we look what's going on with the order flow. are we seeing that trading trigger? If that all aligns together, there's the trade, right? So yeah, that will be it. Of course, if you want access to the Discord where I give all of my trades away, that's the first link in the description. All of my trades are given away into this Discord. And then, of course, if you want the free Discord, that is the second link in the description. So, yeah, have a lovely rest of your day, guys. Jamie, thank you very much for joining. Have a good night, bro. Off to training. Good luck with training, my friend. I will see you all on Monday. And for any Visionary members, I'll probably see you in the Discord. So yeah, take care and see you later. Goodbye.
Take me home, 'cause I wanna feel like I belong. They relate to all this pain in my past, so they listen to my song. So let's go back